Welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith. We are now inside of 2024. Happy New Year to everybody, but we are still talking about games from 2023, and this is going to be the second list video coming out to wrap up 2023 from the Rolling Solo board game community. This one focusing, as you can see from the title, on the top 10 most thematic solo games of 2023. All voted on by the Rolling Solo board game community, so thank you guys so much for putting in all your votes there. And I've already released one video, which if you're looking for the best or top 20 from the entire year of 2023, you definitely want to check out a specific video which dropped about 2 weeks ago. It's this one right here, and this will go through 20 games for you that you can go dig into to find out if they're for you. Coverage on the channel as well for a large portion of them, if not all of them, and you'll be able to make an informed decision on those. Now, at this point, we're going to turn our focus to focusing on the top 10 most thematic, and the 3 top entries of this list will be getting an award sent to the publisher on behalf of the Rolling Solo board game community. So without further ado, let's talk about what the most thematic really means. When you hear the words most thematic as a solo gamer, your mind almost immediately goes to the immersion factor of the game. Really, a thematic game is a game that has a theme, which every board game does, but explores that theme in a way that is far and above better than everything else out there. And that's really where the elements of the immersion factor come in. So you have immersion, but that's broken into a number of different ways to actually be immersed. And that can be through sight, it can be through hearing, it can be through touch. Those are the major ways that you're going to interact with a board game. And those are the major ways you're going to feel or see or hear immersion. It's going to come from artwork. It's going to come from writing. It's going to come from game components. It's going to come from potentially audio narration. It's going to come from the table presence of the game itself, what different components are actually included in the game and how they're used within the game itself, especially the actual game mechanisms tying themselves to the theme. There's so many different ways in which a game can be thematic. All of these types of factors go into making an immersive experience that a solo gamer wants to come back to over and over and over again. And that's exactly why we're pinning the top 10 most thematic solo games of 2023. Let's start in the 10th position. The Rolling Solo board game community has selected Marvel Zombies from Come On Games as the 10th on the most thematic list, and I honestly agree. I mean, it does have a leg up in that it has the Marvel IP license, but this one's been creeping up on not just this list for the most thematic, but also on just some top lists for the end of the year. And that goes to show something, that even though Zombicide's been out for a while and not all of its iterations have hit top 10 lists, this one seems to be creeping up on a whole bunch of them. So it just goes to show that there's still life inside of this game, and what they were able to accomplish by mixing and matching the Marvel IP and theme into the gameplay itself. I think they did a fantastic job of that. It definitely absolutely feels like you're a superhero with those hero traits. You're able to trigger them off. It's changing up what your hero can potentially do, which makes you feel powerful. And then going up against zombie heroes is just very cool as well. So they've added enough spice to this entry that it really stands out from everything else that's been released for Zombicide in the past. The number 9 position belongs to Tamashii Chronicle of Ascend. This one coming from Awakened Realms Light. This one slipped under the radar, I think, for a lot of people, but it's a very, very thematic and well-ingrained cyberpunk adventure board game. You're going to have a lot of that cyberpunk feel in here, but they've meshed it into the gameplay so well. You're going to be exploring through a modular city, but at the same time, in the second half of the game, you'll also be going down the virtual path of the game. There's just so much to enjoy here, and the theme is basically dripping from start to finish. If you're into cyberpunk or you don't have anything like that in your collection, 100% check this one out. Number 8 on the list is Vampire the Masquerade Chapters from Flyos Games. This one is a great selection by the community, and I wholeheartedly agree. Very, very thematic and has all those elements I talked about at the very beginning of the video. This one's going to place you as a character going through that RPG-like experience, and the coolest factors in this one is going to be how and when and what you choose to do in each of these scenes as you go through them can have a major impact on the story, whether you choose to speak with somebody versus attacking them, or choose a different path in the dialogue and just to try it out. It's going to have major impacts and ripple effects throughout that scene and then further into the campaign as well. So that thematic feel is always there from start to finish. Not only its ties to its source material, but also just in how it feels on the tabletop, and that immersion level is unlike most games because it draws so much from that RPG side of the equation. The next selection by the Rolling Solo Board Game community at the number 7 spot is Mr. President, the American Presidency 2001 to 2020. Now, this is one I have no personal experience with whatsoever. So I'm going to literally just show you a bunch of photos with this one, and I won't be able to speak too much to it, but I can tell you right now, just by looking at this one, without even seeing it in person, I can see how thematic this thing is, just in terms of how in-depth it is. The complexity level of this thing is off the charts. Now, complexity doesn't always mean thematic, but as you'll go through the photos and start to look at this stuff, you'll see just how interwoven every single aspect of being a president is within the gameplay itself. This is a perfect example of a game that, while maybe not table presence-wise mind-blowing, it has all the aspects of taking the gameplay and tying it to the theme so well that it lands on this list without question. The number 6 position belongs to Voidfall from Mind Clash Games, another amazing selection by the Rolling Solo Board Game community. Completely agree on this one. Thematically, this thing is off the charts. I mean, in terms of its table presence, the immersion factor, the connection of the gameplay to the theme itself, just everything. This is a Euro strategy game, another one that's high up on the complexity side of the equation, very much like the Mr. President one I just looked at moments ago. So this one might be a little tougher to table overall, but if you get this thing to the table, you are going to have an absolute blast once you have the rules down. It is going to immerse you in an experience unlike anything else you've experienced in space from a solo perspective. We made it to top 5 territory, and the 5th position belongs to Hoplomachus. Whether you pick up the remastered version or you pick up Victorum, either way, there's something there for solo players, and in both cases, thematically awesome across the charts. All those elements I mentioned at the beginning of the video are all there. It's a very gladiator-centric, lots of abilities, lots of combat, and everything you expect to see kind of in a gladiator battle, you're going to get out of these experiences. Now, remastered is going to have some modes for solo play, but it's not as focused on solo play as Victorum is, but Victorum kind of has a more longer-winded campaign, so it depends on whether you want the quick hit from Remastered or you want the campaign from Victorum. Those are kind of your two major avenues across both, but both deserve a spot on this list. The number 4 position belongs to The Witcher Old World, a fantastic selection by the community. Completely agree. This one was an absolute gem for me this year. I was very happy with it. I wasn't sure if it was going to live up to the expectations, but it absolutely did. If you are a fan of the Witcher IP and the huge game world it has to draw from, it did such a spectacular job of modularly bringing in a number of expansions as well as having that solid base game core. You can really enjoy this from a number of different angles, and the thematic layers that are here are off the charts from all angles. It's just a blast to play, and if you have not had a chance to check it out, definitely recommend you do. We've now hit the top 3 territory, so each one of these games will be getting an award from the Rolling Solo Board Game community, and the very first one in the 3rd position is Distilled. I'm really happy to see this one crest up to that top 3 position because I really do think in terms of thematic level, this is way up there above everything else. And I mean, it is probably at like a 98 to 97% bang on to the theme in terms of how the gameplay actually feels to move through. They did a fantastic job of this. They didn't overcomplicate it. They didn't undercomplicate it. They did it perfectly right in the middle, and that's exactly where it should be. And the solo play is phenomenal. Everything about the production is awesome, and I really can't wait for more to come out of Paverson Games after this one, because this one put Paverson Games on my radar. They were not really on my radar in the past, but this game really cracked through for me, and I love it. The second most thematic solo game of 2023 belongs to Earthborn Rangers from Earthborn Games, a fantastic selection by the community. This one is a customizable card game. You'll be using science and technology. You won't be fighting per se with everything that's in here, but you'll be fighting in different ways and more so connecting with the environment that you're in. The game comes with maps. It comes with beautiful artwork. It comes with connections to the game world itself. The game world itself is built out and very immersive. The whole experience will draw you in, and you'll want to continue to explore in this experience over and over again. The gameplay's a lot of fun, and you definitely don't want to miss out on this one. The number 1 position belongs to the Isofarian Guard from Sky Kingdom Games as the most thematic solo game of 2023. This one also won the best solo game of 2023 as well. Both of these awards coming from the Rolling Solo Board Game community, so congratulations to Sky Kingdom Games for landing on 2 of the lists in the top position. That is quite the feat. And across all of the years, I don't think I've had multiple lists where I've had the same game in the same spot, which is pretty impressive. This game has everything that you could think of from a thematic approach, or at least in terms of all the elements I mentioned at the beginning of the video. It has full audio narration. It has full music going on. You are fully engrossed in the experience from start to finish. It is a brand new experience. It's not based on any existing written content. It is literally completely and utterly created uniquely on its own. And for that reason, among a ton of others, and the gameplay on top of it, it's just a fun solo experience, and it's one you should definitely check out. The second printing already went past. I believe the pledge manager at this point now for the second printing is closed up. But it's coming with an update pack, which will make the game even better. And as you can see, it's listed at 8.9 on Board Game Geek. I mean, for a game to come out at this kind of scale with all of this right out of the gates in the first printing and hit 8.9 before an update pack's even part of the equation is pretty insane, and just goes to show how special this one really is. So again, congratulations to Sky Kingdom Games. Congratulations to Earthborn Games as well in the second position, and also to Paverson Games for Distilled in the third position. And just like that, you now know the top 10 most thematic solo games of 2023 thanks to the community and their voting. So thanks again for doing all that voting. Without it, this list and this video wouldn't be possible. I really hope this helps you target some games you may not have been thinking of. And also let us know in the comments down below, do you agree with the list? Would you switch games into different positions based on your experiences? Or do you potentially even have a solo game that wasn't even mentioned here? Because of course, this is only 10 games out of over 100 solo games that released easily from 2023. So we had a large list to vote on and to choose from, but of course there might be some that are hiding some gems in there as well. So let us know in the comments down below, because people will be perusing through all the comments to not only look for this top 10 list of games, but also to try and find out different games that are inside that most thematic bucket. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, keep on rolling solo.